Do this. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of the Real Kindness Games. Pew, 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 pew. I'm Kate Sean, and this is,
Tim.
and we're just having conversations about how to have conversations. The Real Kindness Games is about shedding light on our personal biases and encouraging kindness by modeling curiosity in our conversations. It's so that we can appreciate another human for that unique perspective and experiences so that we can heal our community together. As humans, remember, we divides us as long as we're okay with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, you know what? I was going through my playlist the other day and I was reminded of my favorite band. It just brings back like memories of like a better time and a better place. I just love me some Nickelback. Don't you love them too?
Okay, the only meme I ever remember is Nickelback with a vacuum because Nickelback sucks. Like, what? Dude,
Nickelback is awesome. I mean, what? Are you serious right now?
I am shocked and slightly left speechless. Please, I'm curious. What else was on your playlist?
Well, we got some Hoobastank, we got some Blink 182, we got some Edema, um, we've got some stuff like that. Lit?
Lit? What's lit?
What?
Tim, come on. Have you had any new musical choices since high school?
I'm just really comfortable with like where I was in my prime in high school, and that's my zone. So, and besides, like if I stay where I was in high school, that's safe. I know that place, I know that crowd. Like it's always going to be there for me.
Sounds like you're at a bowling alley with your bumpers on.
Dude, there's nothing wrong with bowling alleys, by the way. I love that sport. It's amazing.
Excuse me, did you just call bowling a sport?
It totally is.
Okay, so let's talk about what we're the topic of today. Never having a new idea again. Could you imagine if Tim was stuck in his high school ways
Dude,
forever? This dude is awesome.
did you know in high school I was in a show choir, sequin bow tie, sequin
Excuse me, I need you to yodel right now.
not yodeling. That's not choir. But I was like doing jazz fingers and the little mini Carlton. Yeah, that's how I roll.
Prime of your life. Prime of your life, right?
Doesn't get
But
better.
really, a lot of us in high school or in college, we have these moments of, oh my God, those were like the golden days. I don't know if you remember that episode from South Park where they talk about the member berries, right? Like, do you remember when? And we just kind of we hold on to these ideas from our past where we're like, well, that was safe. It was comfortable. It was like that old blanket that you have. But do we really want to be in a community or in a society where we can never have new ideas again?
And that's a real danger right now because we started off talking about why we started this because during the height of the protests surrounding George Floyd and the riots, you and I, we worked together, but we've been COVIDed out, right? At home. And we hadn't talked in like 5 months. And when we reconnected, just the stresses, that we had, we just kind of laid them at each other's feet. And we realized that we're awesome people and good friends, but we're actually on complete opposite spectrums of the political sphere, right?
Yep.
And we came to the point of like, can we be friends? And I remember that when I was like, can we still be friends? And you were like, I'm offended that you would actually ask that. Like, we're really good friends. And yet the world that we're in says we can't be, which is crazy. And
Yeah.
so if we go from there to the big miss, our idea of right leads to wronging others, not being aware of our biases, only participating in groupthink, surrounding ourselves with old people that are comfortable, one group of people who have one experience in life and not looking for anything new, and the dangerous ideal of tolerance. tolerating you instead of understanding and trying to be
Appreciating it.
curious and trying to engage and understand another human. False choices. If you are this, if you hold this opinion, then you must. Like, we're not complex people who are sometimes conflicted and sometimes can say, I believe this, but I like that ideal too, and I would love for that to be true. Whether or not it can be true, that's a different conversation to have. All of this leads to that victim mentality, us being stuck, tied to a stake in the ground, whether it's we relate it to a domestic violence situation or addiction or bad habits. All of these things can put us in that victim mentality where we're stuck and we don't feel like we can escape. And it's all perpetrated and made worse by this age of information, which we've reframed to the age of discovery, because we cannot have a well-formulated opinion about everything. There's no way that we can know everything. And we shouldn't just put a stake in the ground where we think we might end up and hold to that no matter what. Not productive, not serving you, not serving me. And then that leads to being insulted and offended all the time because we don't actually know what we believe and we don't want to talk about it. And like, I don't even want to have this conversation right now, so I'm shutting you out. And now we can't actually learn new information and change an opinion or evolve. And like, what if we were never allowed to have a new idea again? Like, what if all of a sudden you found out that the one thing that you thought was the worst idea is actually the one that works? But you would lose your entire community if you jump ship. Is that sad?
It's terrifying. It's terrifying because especially right now we are living through a pandemic, and one of the main tenets of resilience, to be resilient as a human being, is our community, right? You and I need to have our communities to be able to flourish, to be able to survive through this pandemic, through just being separated from people that we know. And now if your community is like, well, Keishan or Tim, you have this opinion, you can't hang out with us, you can't sit with us, all right, you can't have this new idea because, well, we don't appreciate that. That is a terrifying thought, to say that now you're just unable to have diverse thoughts. We are incapable of even challenging the status quo or saying that's not right. The way that we're talking about things is not right. The way that we're thinking about things is not right. It's okay. It's okay to say that. If
Yeah.
if your community disagrees with you so abhorrently to where they're like, well, then you don't belong here. Maybe that's not the right community for you.
Maybe that's not even a community. Maybe it's an oppressive group.
Ooh, ooh. We're
I'm
talking
just
about
saying.
oppression now.
So, I mean, here's the thing, right? It's odd that in this age of information, I like to think age of discovery, in your career path, you will only succeed and do well by innovation and new ideas. And yet, in your political, in society, in your religious beliefs, in all of these other spheres of your life, you can never change your opinion. How odd is that? Does that even
I,
make sense?
it doesn't. And you're right. Innovation is something that we all aspire to, especially in the tech industry, right? In tech, in security, finance, whatever industry you look into right now, everyone is like, oh my God, we have to innovate. We have to look for new, fresh ideas. So you in your work life are being required to think about new ideas and fresh ways to think about life. But in your personal life, you're stuck to this ideal because that's what your friends, family, and your community thinks. That, to me, that just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't equal out, right? So I would say that, hey, again, let's go towards that growth mindset. Let's remember that our world will forever be changing and that we have to change with it. We have to adapt with it. We have to have conversations, because I personally have changed a lot of my thought processes and ideals since I've been having conversations with Tim, or since I've been engaging with GSD and built a more flourishing community where my challenges, my ideals were challenged, my opinions were challenged, and I was able to not change my opinions to their opinions, but I was able to evolve my opinion, evolve it to something that may look different from what it did a year ago, what
Yeah.
it did 5 years ago. Tim, do you actually still like Hooba Steak? Because
No, no, they're not good actually. They had like two songs. I don't know why I listened to the rest of the songs, but they had two songs. Crawling in the dark, looking for the answers. You know that song?
you guys got a free concert from Tim.
There we go. You're welcome. Hey, can I NPR us out?
Yes, please. Oh, ooh, ooh.
Hey, guys, here's a new idea. Our world is more complicated and changing at a faster pace than ever. This age of discovery is opening up new opportunities and new options more than we ever have before. And if you allow yourself to be stuck in the mindset of I cannot move forward, I cannot move from the stake in the ground of this idea that I've been chained to, what's going to happen? You're going to be left behind. In this COVID adventure, the one thing that we know is true is if you cannot adapt and evolve how you do things, you're not going to survive very well. You are going to be depressed. You're going to be left behind. You're going to be lonely. Mm-hmm. Because all the things that we were able to do in March, we can't do anymore the same way. We have to do them in different ways. So here's the thing. Challenge your assumptions, right? I'm a Christian. That book was written thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. And yet, as I read it, as I talk to people of the same faith, I still look at the world around me and say, do we still believe this? Is this still true? And if so, how can we believe it, right? Is this book timeless? And these are healthy conversations to have, but they're impossible to have if you're afraid that if you learn something new, you might be disenfranchised from an idea that you stake yourself down to. Hey, Kekashan, do you know what the definition for enlightenment is?
Oh my God. I don't.
It means you became aware of new stuff. And then you changed your opinion. And so the Age of Enlightenment was like, woo, Renaissance, Age of Enlightenment. It was so good because the world changed in a more positive manner, right? Mm-hmm. We went toward the better, took a big step towards a better type of society. It's not perfect. And today is not perfect either. And guess what? It can never be perfect. But if we don't challenge our beliefs and our ideas, if we don't move forward, if we're not open to the possibility, then we're going to end up back in the dark ages, like a lot of us feel like we're in right now.
Man, your NPR moments are like pure gold, pure gold. But I think you're absolutely right. Like in today's time and age, our openness to different ideas is so important now more than ever because our society is changing and COVID proves that, right?
Yep.
Our entire world has lockdown. Tim and I have been working from home. I can't even remember how long. I don't know how the 2020 is almost over.
Weeks.
I can't believe it. And so the one thing that is true is, again, change will always happen. And we as human beings have to just accept it and be okay with it. Be okay with change and adapt. We were on a call recently and someone mentioned that, you kind of have to be like water, right? Like be the water when you flow into the kettle, you're the shape of the kettle. Be like water when you flow into a cup, you're the shape of a cup. It's kind of the same thing. Be okay, be willing to be malleable and to have new and interesting ideas. And don't forget to just challenge the status quo. What do you think, Tim?
I think that was a way better analogy than even because water is resilient. It always returns to its calm state. And water is powerful. Even though it just sits there, you can fire a bullet into water and it can only go 5 or 6 feet before its power, its velocity is arrested and the water returns to normal. What?
Be like
So
water.
be like water. That's awesome. Here's the thing, guys. This is our final foundational episode. We've spent the last, I don't know how many episodes talking about all of these foundational problems that are keeping us from having amazing relationships and amazing conversations, that are keeping the division and the hate going. And Kekashan and I refuse to be part of the division and the hate. So starting in January 2021, a new year, we're actually going to get into the real kind conversations. We're going to have conversations about how to have conversations. And you know what? We may start to bring in guests to put them on the spot and actually have some conversations and learn how we can be like water, how we can be welcoming, how we can be curious, and how we can heal our relationships and bring our communities closer together.
Hey, Tim, I'm going to do a call to action. If you are interested in being on our show and having a conversation with us, reach out to me and Tim. We're just human beings. We're always looking for different perspectives. If you don't agree with us or you agree with us, whatever, it doesn't matter. Come on, have a conversation with us. Tell us what we don't know, because both Tim and I are here to learn. What do you say, Tim?
Sounds good. Only if you're going to be kind, though.
Only if you're kind. No hate allowed. No hate allowed on the Real Kindness Games.
Hey, Kekashan, have a great, I don't even know when we're going to send this out. I'm sure you're having a great Christmas right now, and I'll see you in the new year.